Three, two, one. What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Here the Spear, presented to you by NoelGameDay.com. We are here on this wonderful and fantastic Wednesday evening for our last and final episode of 2021. Took a little week off for holidays to spend time with family. And here we are, just Nate and I. There's nothing better than this, honestly. This is practically
It's
all it
all we
could
really
be.
need, man. You know,
We've
FSU
carried
basketball's in a hiatus. You know,
the season's over.
season's over for that. You know, Dustin is getting married this week, so
So that takes a whole month off of him. Like he
yeah.
can't do nothing for a
So
month.
we won't hear from him till probably spring. So we'll hold down the fort, man.
Yeah, we'll hold it down. We'll be just fine. I'm excited to be back. I've been looking forward to get back on with you, Nate. I was going to say you guys, but really just you, Nate, and get back talking to everybody that listens to the show. I know it's been a wild year. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and we also are doing a Q&A after this show. So throw in all your questions you have. We've already got about 20 on the docket, but we'll kind of give our last thoughts on 2021, what to look forward to in 2022. We'll talk about the new additions and the transfer portal since we last recorded an episode. More staff changes in the works. We'll discuss that. And like I said, I wanted to put a little note here on optimistic things to look out for heading into 2022. And then we've got about 20 or so questions that we're going to answer here live for you guys. And throw it in the chat. Communicate with us, engage. It's our last show of the year. With me right now is Nate Greer, lead recruiting insider, and myself, just
What a
Logan
year,
Robinson.
dude!
Just
What
hang
a
out with
year.
you and your boneless wings. I think that's one of the first questions on the docket too.
That tells me that that person has exquisite taste, so they want to know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that one. I don't know. But as always, you guys can listen to the show on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. If you're on one of those, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Um, if you ever share it with your friends, let us know. Maybe send you a shirt, but definitely appreciate everybody listening to us this year. I won't get too sappy, but definitely appreciate everybody tuning in this year. It's been a really awesome time getting to know a lot of you listening to us and engaging with us on YouTube. Definitely with the live stream being introduced. This was definitely something awesome, crazy year. But let's start jumping into things. Nate, obviously Florida State lands a big time wide receiver transfer from Oregon with Micah Pittman, looking to probably get into that early rotation starting in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Travis and him seem to have built a really nice relationship. But what are your feelings about Micah Pittman coming into Florida State? He brings his brand with him. He's got his YouTube channel. He's got the girlfriend, plays at Oregon. Really, really good basketball player, should say. But he's bringing that whole thing with him to Tallahassee, and he'll be here soon and potentially rooming with Jordan Travis, Florida State starting quarterback.
I think that coming into this offseason, Florida State needed to, everyone talked about the importance of finding at least one, maybe two experienced guys from the portal. So you look at Micah Pittman, who, is a guy that we've talked about here before that has played big time ball from Florida. So he's, familiar with the program. Like I said before, I like that he plays special teams, and he does a really good job of being a punt returner. And, we talked about that ad nauseum on this podcast this past season, watching FSU and just the hitting yards they had throughout the season. So you get a guy who is an experienced receiver and also can be a major contributor on special teams. So I feel that FSU needs to bring three guys at receiver through the portal. That's my personal opinion. They have two, and they're possibly going to land a third, which we can talk about. But it's a great take. They swung for the fences with the Hazelwoods and all those other guys. They make quick decisions. Pittman was always towards the top of the board, and they got on him pretty quickly, and they were able to finish it off.
I think this is good. Florida State obviously has to add depth there. They need it big time. And like you also said, Nate, they are probably looking at adding one or if not two more. We'll see how that goes, depending on really maybe another wide receiver that's in the balance, still trying to figure out if he'll be in Tallahassee. I'm sure we've got to answer that question here in a few. Before we do that, though, Dustin Lewis is here. This is crazy. I'm actually seeing him. This is live. He's not constrained anywhere. Are you with us, Dustin Lewis, on your wedding week?
Yeah, I mean, I've missed 3 podcasts all year, so I don't know why you're acting like this is some phenomenon that I decided to show up for the podcast. So I've been keeping track.
Coming with a little sassy.
I've been here more than you.
Coming with statistics.
Me? I'm the one that has to run the damn thing. Coming with sassiness, Nate. You gonna let him talk to you like that?
I was talking
It's
to you.
his wedding week.
It is. Yeah, Nate's not gonna be there, so that's why
He's probably stressed out enough as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got about 63 hours. You know, the countdown's on.
Comment in here is asking from Brandon to Dustin. Oh, Dustin.
I don't know if Dustin Hill did.
I don't think Dustin. Did you? Did you go to jail?
It's on the horizon.
Oh my goodness!
We'll
yeah,
see
no,
what happens.
You're making it through, though. You're making it through. You'll be okay.
I'm not going to reply to that, dude. That's just, why would anyone put that shit out there? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. We'll probably get into that here in just a few regarding Dustin Hill and when we expect him to be on campus. But Dustin, we were just talking about Micah Pittman. Any kind of last thoughts on him? Because that's obviously a really nice addition to Florida State's wide receiver room coming from Oregon. And I had wanted to point out too, Kenny Dillingham really working and getting that commitment to happen, that signing too, before he took the job to join Dan Lanning over there at Oregon.
Yeah, obviously a guy who's extremely talented. You know, he didn't put up huge numbers at Oregon, but that's just because of various injuries that he dealt with throughout his time there. And this past season, Oregon really struggled to throw the ball downfield, which is where I kind of think he's at his best, going deep, even though he's 5'11", 6 foot, he can still go up in traffic, make catches. He has really good hands, shifty in the open field. I know we put that video up on the website earlier this week. It was high school footage, but I mean, you could see the talent this kid has. One cut, he's gone. He can stiff arm a guy, return punts. I think that's going to be an instant upgrade where you see him. He's a guy, he'll actually go get the punt, instead of letting it bounce inside the 10 and all the stuff we saw this year from FSU special teams unit. So a really big upgrade, and he's going to be able to help out immediately from day one.
There's a question here from Jen asking how much eligibility does Micah Pittman have and what he's bringing to the table there.
I believe it's 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
I believe 2 years, yeah.
He was trying to sit out after 4 games this year, and Mario Cristobal and the Oregon coaching staff talked him into playing. So that's why he has 2 years instead of 3. And he said he has a YouTube channel. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he has a really big YouTube channel, put out a whole video on why he was leaving Oregon. And he said he regretted coming back and wasting that extra year of eligibility.
Any wide receiver that's considering now Miami and Mario Cristobal should watch that.
Wow. Then along with not only Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson pops and commits to Florida State. Another guy from that West Coast kind of area there at Arizona State. 6'7". I'm feeling Greg Carr vibes over here, but Florida State is looking to increase its red zone threat there. You had Malik McLean kind of start getting a trend going there and going up a high point in those balls. But one thing I found out about Johnny Wilson is really yards after catch too. For a long guy and lengthy as he is, he can stay on his feet for a good while. But Florida State's really just trying to add some depth there in the wide receiver room. And one of the key things here, one of the fun things to learn, Dustin put out a piece earlier this week about these two, Micah Pittman and Johnny Wilson, being former teammates in high school and absolutely dominating in Calabasas.
Yeah, you could tell that he was a guy Florida State wanted. I mean, pretty much as soon as he entered the portal, 2 days later, he was committed to Florida State. So they attacked that instantly, got the job done. And like you said, 6'7", 230 pounds. Apparently, he runs a legit 4.5 to 4.6. So this is a guy who's long and he's got plenty of speed too. And you can see it on film. He knows how to go up. He knows how to use his size, go up in traffic over defenders. And I mean, there's not many people on the football field that are going to be able to outreach him at his highest point, going up to catch a football. And, a much needed talent to Florida State's wide receiver room, just like Pittman. And you look at their recruiting rankings back in high school. I mean, these were two guys that were both top 150 prospects, and they're in their respective recruiting classes. So instead of getting high school talent, Florida State's now hitting that transfer portal, and they're getting guys that have experience left, have some youth, and were also highly regarded coming out of the high school ranks.
Yeah, and I know there's some people who are upset because they're not landing some kid who put up 80 catches for 14 and 18 touchdowns. The point is that Florida State needs to bring in talent. They need a talent infusion. And with Pittman and Wilson, I think they've done that so far. I know a lot of people listen to the measurements and they compare him to Kelvin Benjamin. But he's a faster version. I think he's better in the open field than what Kelvin was. If he can produce like Benjamin did his, in 2013, that's just a home run. But you got to be excited about the potential of a guy who's 6'7" and can stretch the field. And like Dustin said, no one's going to really beat him to high point of ball. So again, it's just FSU bringing in more talent to just get better there. We've talked about it all season. Florida State's got to get better, whether it was through high school recruiting, the portal, or both. So, Kevin Coleman's still out there, but they're really hitting the portal really hard.
Yeah, not just talent, but also the wide receiver room is getting a lot bigger. You look at Wilson, 6'7". You've already got McClain at 6'4". Believe Darian Wilson and Portier are right there as well, 6'3", 6'4" guys. And we'll see who else Florida State can get in the portal.
One thing with Wilson too, Florida State's run game just got even better with Wilson, who's a really good blocker. So again, that's something that we don't talk about when you look at these wide receivers. Is how well he can block, and that's just going to make FSU even better when those bats get outside the tackles and get in the open field.
Yeah, Malik McLean did a really good job of that. That's why he started so early in his career at Florida State, because of how well he blocked starting off in that Notre Dame game, first game of the season, and
I was about to say that run that
really early on.
Busted off. He was the guy downfield. That chipped off Kyle Hamilton, and then had a little bit of a block towards the end of the run that let Corbin get into the end zone. So,
let's talk about two. Greedy Vance, Louisville transfer. He popped yesterday around lunchtime. Transfer from Louisville, played a majority of his freshman year as corner, but from when I talked with Greedy yesterday, he told me that staff is looking at him to kind of be all around the defensive backfield, not primarily at corner at the corner position. It's listed on the Louisville site that he is 5'10", 155. I'm told that he's a little bit a good size bigger, not monumental, not a big time increase. I know that was the first comments about how small he was, but the guy's got some speed. He could be, if you watch some of his film too, he sticks close to the receivers. So he goes into the fold and joins Florida State defensive backfield heading into the 2022 season.
I don't understand why people are so upset with this. He's a guy who played 12 games this past season, started 36 tackles, 33 in solo, 7 pass breakups. This is the guy that they took to fill Travis Hunter's spot. So I don't know why people are upset about getting a guy who has 3 years left and played pretty decently on a Louisville team that gave FSU some issues. So I'm more than fine with taking the guy who has Power 5 Division I experience, starting, being a contributor, and can play multiple positions. So you should be happy with it.
Yeah, played 12 games this past season, and like you said, Nate, he's really your Travis Hunter replacement. Obviously, you can't replace a talent like Hunter, but the plan was always for Florida State to get 3 defensive backs in this class, and with the Hunter move kind of coming out of nowhere, this is something that they had to get done. And another one, 2 days after he enters the portal, he commits to Florida State. And the interesting thing about Greedy Vance is he was a high school teammate of Dustin Hill. And I believe shortly after he committed, he put in his Instagram story, like, can't wait to compete with him or something like that. So obviously he's expecting Dustin Hill to be here this summer.
Yeah, no, I did talk with him, and he said he does look forward to practicing one-on-ones with him in Tallahassee. So
that's interesting.
Didn't really ask too further, and I know a lot of the stuff with that situation is personal matter, so there's no reason to kind of dive into that too crazy. But he is expecting to compete against his former high school teammate with Dustin Hill. We'll talk a little bit more Dustin Hill later on in the show. So 3 new transfers Florida State has from the transfer portal. We'll keep an eye out too. Florida State's definitely in the looks of getting more, definitely the defensive line, as it just was shared just a few minutes ago, really. Hawaii defensive tackle was given an offer from Mike Norvell and Adam Fuller. Nate just put out a piece regarding that on sportsillustrated.com. It is Jonah Lulu. I'm terrible. Definitely, this is just adding up to me just screwing up his name.
It's another kid that's blown up since he entered the portal.
Immediately, yeah.
USC, Oklahoma, LSU, Georgia, FSU, Miami, Cal, Washington. Getting a ton of offers. The guy had 6'6", 280, kind of, a bigger Dennis Briggs, so to speak. He can line up outside and inside. 40 quarterback pressures this year. So he gets after the quarterback. So,
yeah, I'm assuming Florida State's probably looking at him to play defensive end, if I had to take a guess. Hopefully we can get in contact with him soon and get some clarification.
Yep, and I really like where Florida State is with Greg Spahn right now. I think that, when you talk about athletic freaks, a guy who just moved over to wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
High school was a really good athlete, but a guy who is legit 6'3", pushing 200, and is tying multiple under 4.4. So again, it's not a guy who put up a bunch of stats this year. He's just growing into the position, but it's just another guy that lifts the floor of that room, and you get more talent in there. So, that looks like that's leaning towards FSU's favor right now. So they're definitely not done in the portal.
Yeah, this kind of goes into a question here from Jen asking, are there any linebackers or any good ones that are in the portal that Florida State should be after or is going after?
Doesn't really pop in my head, man. There's Noah
Miami,
Taylor.
Ohio guy.
Yeah, the Miami, Ohio guy. There's Noah Taylor from Virginia.
Committed.
Yeah. So
to North Carolina.
Yep. So he's out. To me, kind of just tells me Florida State's really going to push that 4.25 next year.
At this rate, yeah, it's almost mandatory.
Yeah,
you have to. This kind of leads into the topic here. Biggest transfer portal needs, obviously linebacker. Yes. I think a lot of more options there is going to come after ball games and head into the spring too, where guys figure out whether they're going to be in the lineups and practices. But what do you guys think is going to be the biggest need, or what is the biggest needs right now out of that transfer portal?
Well, it was definitely wide receiver, I would say, number one, and they've done a good job of filling that need. And I think if they get Span in the fold, three transfer wide receivers, that probably wraps everything up there. Other than that, looking at the roster, it's really defensive end and linebacker. You've got to get hopefully 2, maybe even 3 transfer defensive ends to come in and fill some of that production that you're going to lose from Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas, because you just have a lot of guys who there's some talent there, but there's a lot of inexperience. So it'd be good to get a veteran in to kind of shore up that room. And obviously the top option right now, Jared Verse, Florida State, firmly in that recruitment. And it seems like he's going to be making his decision either later this week or next week. So we should know sometime soon where he's going to go. I think Florida State, Tennessee, LSU are probably among the schools that are in the best spots right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Florida State needs to bring in, 1 to 2 along the defensive line. Linebacker, they have to bring in, 1 or 2. They have 6 guys on scholarship. So, getting Amari Gainer to come back next year, was big for them because they just hadn't had traction, on the recruiting front. And, when you look at the high school level, and then, you know, other than like a Noah Taylor and the kid from Miami, Wahos looks pretty decent. There's not a lot of really good linebackers yet in the portal that I would just be super excited about. I know people are asking about Brandon Jennings. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but I'm interested to see where that goes because I think they have to at least 1 or 2, in my opinion.
21 shouting out the NG black shirt, the fire
Yeah,
emoji.
there could still be some linebackers enter the portal as we get through bowl season. I think we'll continue to see guys,
Oh, for sure.
transfer, but we'll see if it's guys that Florida State should take a shot at, or if it's more of just bringing a body in, which I don't think Florida State would want to waste a scholarship right now.
No, they're not. Norvell's not looking just to fill spots, man. He's looking to bring in talent because he's got to win next year. Like, this is a very important year for Mike Norvell and the program itself.
John from Facebook says Norvell is entering the transfer portal. So that's
cool.
Definitely someone need to get an article out for the quick header for
that's
tomorrow.
News to me.
We've got to get it out. We need to get that out. Clickbait. Now it's my time.
Appreciate the tip.
We'll have to look into this. Let's jump into some more quick hitters before we get into the Q&A session here. Staff changes. Doesn't seem like I think most of us here feel like there's more on the horizon. Just seems like, little holidays, let everybody spend time with family, but starting next week, kind of get back into the mix of things. And
you mean the contracts don't expire until January? What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, things go on, and you try to help out people that are internally with you and find other places. And is that good? Is Marcus Woodson going to be the defensive coordinator at Memphis? What's going on here? But y'all expect a couple staff changes to be made here once we start 2022. These contracts expire.
For sure. I mean, I think the first one that comes to everyone's mind, the name on the table, is wide receivers coach Ron Dugan's contract expires in January. I don't want to say in 2 days. I don't know the exact date on the deal, but it expires in January at some point. And Florida State, I mean, simply they've struggled to recruit wide receivers. They've struggled to develop wide receivers. Past two seasons, you haven't had a receiver eclipse the 400-yard mark. In 2 of your last recruiting classes, you failed to sign a single wide receiver. That could still change for Florida State in February. But through the early signing period, 0 wide receivers in the fold. So it kind of feels like it's time for a change there. Dugan's was a holdover anyway when Norvell was brought on from Memphis. So I could see David Johnson being shifted to wide receivers coach, which is a position that he's held at most of the other jobs throughout his career, including under Norvell at Memphis. And we'll see what happens at wide receiver or at running backs coach. I think there's a couple options on the table.
Yeah, I kind of want them to. I think the writing's on the wall with Dugans. Let's just start there. Yeah. It just hasn't been great on a lot of fronts there. I would like them to keep Johnson at running back and go give me that guy from Pitt, who played for Coach Norvell at Tulsa. So his name's escaping me right now, but
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That's who I would really like to see, or a guy like Juwan Cedar, who I know a lot of people are talking about him. When you want to address the recruiting piece, he's a proven recruiter and one of the best in the country. Odell, I can kind of see him coming back.
It's up to
Seems
him.
like he
at
has
this
a
point.
rejuvenation. Yeah, I mean, it's up to
No,
him. I feel like he has
it's
some
up to
kind of
him.
rejuvenation with.
Yep.
I mean, Lovett had a great year. Robert Cooper stepped up and had a good year, along with that whole defensive line. You know, you had Jermaine Keir do their thing.
I kind of think that we would. I think we
Malcolm Ray.
I think we see Cooper and Lovett and all them leaving if if Odell was going to leave.
Now, yeah, Cooper by far number one because
Mhm.
that relationship was gigantic for him. Number one coming to Florida State, and Odell staying there and doing his thing the last couple of years. I mean,
I know Woodson's been brought up for Memphis, DC. No, I honestly haven't heard anything either way, but I'm not, so I can't really comment on that. I think that out of those three, Dugan's for sure. Woodson, I think, is a coin flip, and I think Odell will be back next year.
the Tyree West thing kind of sucked. That was kind of a letdown there for Higgins. I hate to bring up bad memories from early signing day.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that was on Odell though.
I don't know.
Nah,
That's what that's what the majority
on
of
a
people
bag.
think. Well,
Blame it on a bag.
yeah, the bag that the NIL talk, I think we're going to have a lot to chat about this upcoming offseason because there's a lot of things that
the state of Florida's got to catch up, bro. Like, for real.
got Texas offering $10 million annually.
You got Florida State, Florida, Miami are all going to fall back very quickly if the state of Florida doesn't. And I think tells you something that the day after the early signing day, there's they're talking about it at the state capitol on how they can make it more open for these schools in Florida to not have the obstacles that the others are having.
Mm-hmm.
You got oil money. I was talking to someone that made a good point too. You look at like USC, Oregon, UCLA, they got that Silicon Valley money out there. Some kid that graduated from USC that, 20 million, it could be nothing to some of those guys out there. So it's what's going to come down to, man. So Spanx lady, if you're listening, man, tighten up. Let's go.
Where are we at? I just watched a little episode on her last night, and I didn't know that she graduated out of her field. She really wasn't going to do business stuff at Florida State, but kind of did it on her own once she graduated.
Tighten up.
Where's she at?
Tighten up,
Where
man. Charging $80 for a form-fitting shirt, man. Tighten up, man.
Hey, I mean, hey, good for her. Dustin could use some Spanx coming up this weekend. Wedding boy.
I don't need form fitting. I need loose material.
Are you going with Are you going like the Steve Harvey baggy, or what are you doing?
I don't know. I haven't even tried my suit on yet, honestly.
The wedding's on Saturday.
I couldn't tell you.
We all haven't. It is going to be interesting. Yes, we'll be doing a live game day chat in the Discord, so I'll give everybody live coverage after about 6 shots, which probably isn't a good idea, but oh well, who cares? It's off season. We can do whatever. Let's talk Lovett here. Do we think Fabian Lovett's coming back to Florida State? If Robert Cooper's coming back, do you think Fabian Lovett's coming back? I feel like that's happening.
I think he's still testing the waters and getting feedback from the NFL and scouts and such to kind of see where his stock would be at if he did decide to go to the next level. Because he's got a family to think about. He's got a young son as well, and he had a pretty good year. He was kind of banged up as the season ended, but there were stretches where he was Florida State's most dominant defensive lineman, in my opinion. Really showed the potential of what he could grow into in the future, and I'd love to get him back for one more year.
Yeah, he really stepped up when Briggs went out. Get him back one more year. I kind of think that his season was a little uneven, which is something that I think would push him back to FSU for one more year. Because I think he can improve on this season, in my opinion.
The final thoughts on 2021 before we give our optimistic things to look forward to
It sucked.
2022.
The end.
Well, not everything sucked, right?
It sucked.
Not everything
The
sucked.
season sucked.
I had a
Travis
good time
Hunter,
in Boston.
I mean, it sucked.
No, Logan, you didn't.
No, yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
It sucked.
A lot of ups and downs. Jordan
Yeah,
Travis Jordan Travis came in as a starter. Got to see some Mackenzie Milton there. Just got to see that he wasn't 100%, maybe not even 90%.
I don't think he's
But-
50%.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a little disappointing. We saw the youth of this team.
Josh Griffiths kicked out, gone.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say
great
kicked out, not kicked out. I should say left the program.
Whatever. But
Seems like years ago.
the team was better than last year. If you don't see that, you're blind. But it's still not where FSU should be, and it's good to see that this coaching staff's not resting or accepting of what happened this year, and they're dropping dead weight and bringing in people that can help this team pretty quickly.
Yeah, there was clearly an improvement this year. You know, those first 4 games, ugly as hell. I know the Jacksonville State loss, you're never going to be able to look past that when you look back on the 2021 campaign. But the final 8 games of the season, you really start to see this team come together. It feels like, you know, the culture is really starting to change. These guys are starting to play for each other. You saw some signs from the defense, I thought, in the second half of the season. Jordan Travis began to improve as a passer.
What that say? Nate is such a what?
Downer.
Whatever,
But
dude.
I thought Jordan Travis, he took some legitimate steps forward in his passing development those last 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know, still a lot of room to improve, and you're never going to be able to get past that Jacksonville State game.
Nope.
Nearly took Notre Dame down. You know, I think maybe you can change the outcome of that NC State game if Jordan Travis or even Chubba Purdy is on the roster at that point, and losing to Florida without a head coach and kind of the chaos their program was in at that point. Disappointing as well.
I think they smoke Florida if Travis doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, how many one-score games they had this year? Like 6, 5?
Mm-hmm.
So now they got to flip those next year. You know, would have been a completely different season if they pulled off the upset of Notre Dame and not have that disaster of a game versus Jacksonville State. Things are a lot different, man.
Yeah. Got to see a lot of upside with some of the true freshmen coming into it, Kevin Knowles and Amarian Cooper.
Sure.
It seems like the DB room there, the future is extremely bright for those two, which was fun to watch. I can't lie.
It was really fun to watch Jermaine Johnson, you know, just dominate people. Really fun to watch. Guys like Ray develop throughout the season and kind of show some of the stuff that people saw down in South Florida, you know, when he was coming out. So there's a lot of development on some of these younger players that it just needs to continue going into next season.
Yeah. I want to get to, just to kind of end that off, I don't need to spend 30 minutes talking about the 2021 season. We did that for hours upon hours this whole year. But going into 2022, though, I thought kind of get to some optimistic things to look forward to. You know, I can think of a couple here. You know, Florida State's done a really good job in the transfer portal in the past 2 years. I think that's just only going to continue. Mike Norvell knows what kind of talent he needs, and he brings in really good talent. He brought in Keir Thomas, Jamie Robinson, had in Jermaine Johnson, along with others, and they came in and played very well. Florida State, I think, will do that once again, just looking at the track record of what Mike Norvell and his staff has done, and I'm interested to see how that will play out this offseason.
Yeah. No, I think
any optimistic things to look forward to.
I'm optimistic for the continued development of the offensive line. You know, they signed a phenomenal class. They have 2 guys coming into the portal that could help them pretty quickly. So I think that we'll see the offensive line take a step forward, which will be exciting for us as FSU fans. I think that another year in the program for Travis to see if he can develop. I still think they should bring in another guy through the portal, just because I'm not comfortable with 3 scholarship quarterbacks and one that just has looked horrible when he's played in games. So, optimistically, I'll wait till spring before I'm optimistic, man. To be pretty honest with you,
I'm gonna follow you, Nate. I would say the offensive line is one thing I'm optimistic about. Going into the 3rd year with Coach Atkins, I think you've got, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but between 16 and 18 scholarship offensive linemen, and none of them at this point are duds. You've either got some guys that have played and are experienced and talented, or you've got some youth that has been developing and showing signs, and you're going to add to that with right now 7 scholarship offensive linemen coming in. We'll see if Florida State maybe gets one more. So I'm expecting, continued improvement there, and especially with the experience some of the guys coming back already have. And then the defensive backfield, same kind of thing. You're not really losing, at least right now. You haven't really lost any contributors to the NFL draft or the transfer portal. Miko Dotson will be moving on, but other than that, I mean, you're returning a lot of young talent, and hopefully the strides.
If they can get Jamie back, I think that just makes that defense much better next year.
Yeah, and you're bringing in two good true freshmen who could play earlier in their careers, and obviously Greedy as well. So we'll see how it shakes out. And I mean, man, another thing I'm optimistic about, I'm on the Jordan Travis train now with Logan. I think Jordan Travis is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the entire conference next year, as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, those last 3 or 4 games, he was figuring it out, preserving his body when running, getting out of balance more, sliding more, avoiding contact. And then, I mean, his throws, they're finally just hitting. You've improved that wide receiver room. You're going to get Cam McDonald back, and some of those young tight ends could continue to grow. We know what you got in the running back room. He's going to have some weapons around him. So I'm expecting him to have a breakout 2022 season.
You know who I'm looking forward to? Second year, Malik McLean. I think that he was kind of finishing off the season very well there. I wish he had more targets. I think that's what it should have had more targets, in my opinion. Should have had way more. Definitely in the red zone there. But I think don't like Malik McLean, Nate Greer.
No, I like McLean. I like where his career is heading. I just don't know if I put all that on him.
Well, that's why I said he should have had more targets. Nate isn't even listening to us. He's in his own world. But Malik McLean and also Joshua Burrell, he was sidelined this entire last season, but he had a lot of promise showing up in the spring and also the early part of fall camp, but didn't get to see him at all this last season. I'm looking forward to hopefully having the debut of Joshua Burrell, hopefully maybe later in this spring, because, sideline, didn't get to see him practice at all this last season. Looking forward to seeing some Joshua Burrell, because you got to kind of forgot about him, but that adds into that attrition to that wide receiver room.
And it's time to shit or get off the pot for Travis J, man. Like, there's not a more gifted athlete on the roster. Can he put it together on and off the field and realize just the immense talent that he has, man? Like, he's gifted, but he's got to get out of his own way. That would make me optimistic.
We're trying to get Nate to be optimistic for 2022.
I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter about early signing day. So
no, I see that.
How can you not be? Every Travis Hunter post I see, I'm like, report spam.
No, my goodness.
Trying to get this man banned on social media.
Bullying.
Oh man, I'm excited for year 2 of
Harassment.
Yeah.
I'm excited for year 2 of Treshaun Ward too. I can't lie. I thought he was the overall best back that Florida State had last season. I think Florida State, Mike Norvell. One thing that if I could give some advice, I think if a running back is doing well in the game, don't take him out. Unless he needs true rest. But it seems like stick with the guy you got there. No need to kind of shuffle guys around as much. I understand you have talent. You got DJ Williams and Toa Philly coming back next season. But if a guy like Treshaun Ward is having a good game, let the guy do his thing and ball, because I thought he was definitely a big highlight. You got to remember he was a former walk-on, and not a lot of people knew about what we were hearing during practices and what players and former players. What is all the banging and shit? What is all that, Nate? I got to mute Nate. Yeah, there we go. We muted him.
Can't point.
Yeah, right up there. Look, now he's doing that, but watch, I can do this, and then I could go in here and do this. I can't do it until he's. Wait, now I can edit that, and then now the mic volume 0. Yeah, Florida State and some optimistic things to look forward to. Just a few there. Nate, pessimistic. Still salty about Travis Hunter, but. I think we'll make it through from what a 17-year-old did on early signing day.
Can't hear you, Nate. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have any mic volume. Let's see what Nate has to say.
You're gonna make him leave the show.
Let's go into some Q&A. The first question is Q&A. We did it mainly through our Discord channel. And we had the first question here from all our members there. What is your favorite boneless wing flavor, Nate?
Honey barbecue.
But they're not boneless wings though. They're chicken nuggets with sauce on them.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. No argument.
No, I've.
Dustin, you're the third one here, so you got to pick a side.
I stood in the lane and expressed my displeasure with bone-in wings and how I think they're overrated.
We'll say last wings I had were nice little half teriyaki, half Carolina Gold, boneless mix from Hobbit.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God. My Celsius just fell to the floor. I'm falling apart here. Jesus Christ. Oh God, help me. Please, someone in the chat, help me.
There we go.
No.
You've seen the light, Dustin. There's still hope for you.
Just so much easier, man. I can just use a fork and not get
Be a man and use your fingers.
Under
Just
my
go to work,
fingernails
man.
and everything.
Yeah, you have to sit there and.
I don't need to get that wet towelette packet from the waitress.
Correct.
I have to rub my hands all around.
Thank you, Irv. Thank you, saying Logan is right. Completely
Just
correct.
convenient.
Yes, it's I'm trying to eat, not fight my food, dog. I'm
like
trying
half
to-
and
You're
half.
not fighting it. You're grabbing it to your mouth.
I'll still do bone in, every now and then, but I'm starting to lean more towards boneless.
As you get older, the value of convenience is very important, dude.
Don't you remember what kind of wings I got when we went to Kenny Shaw's camp, Logan?
Yeah, but that was because you ordered
Boneless.
a wrong. Well, yeah, no, I didn't talk. Yeah, I didn't talk to you that whole night. Let's jump into this next question. What are the legit names for running back coaches? And Dugan's for the wide receiver coach, should he not be renewed? Does Yak move to the wide receiver coaching position?
It's an option. I think, in my opinion, it's probably the most likely and the most easiest move just because of how much experience David Johnson has coaching wide receivers at previous jobs. I said it earlier, but coached them at Memphis under Norvell when he was there, coached them at Tennessee. So he's got experience doing that.
Yeah.
And as for a running back coach, it's kind of tough. There's not really a lot of news out there at the moment. I think a lot of people, Nate, you said it earlier, a lot of people would point to Cedar at Penn State, hopefully bringing him back to the state of Florida where he has a ton of recruiting ties and would instantly help Florida State out. And, other than that, maybe Norvell's running backs coach at Memphis, Anthony Johnson, I believe. He's helped put 4 running backs in the NFL during his coaching career. I can't remember the names of all of them, but Darrell Henderson,
Tony
Kenny Pollard,
Antonio Gibson, and Tony Pollard.
So a proven developer of talent, because when you look back at some of those Memphis recruiting classes, those weren't guys that were 4- and 5-star types coming out of high school. He built them into what they were with Norvell at Memphis. So I'd be interested to see that with the connection that those two have.
I kind of think you have to. I don't want to say a big name. I think you have to bring in a proven recruiter with what.
You need to make a splash.
With what Florida's done, I think Napier is a good recruiter. Really question what he can do I think he's the exact opposite of Dan Mullen, where Mullen was just a really shitty recruiter, but was one of the best in the country at X's and O's. You watch Billy Napier in a game, and you just kind of question some of his decisions, but he can recruit. Mario Cristobal he's gonna recruit well down in Miami, so you have to bring someone in that can compete with that.
Damn,
it's important.
Damn,
a little messed up, Rick.
Damn, Rick. Damn, hold up. Damn.
It's my wedding week. Can you at least pretend that I look all right? I mean,
damn, Rick coming in saying, by the way, in full cast, by the way, he said, by the way, boneless wings are frozen, probably cooked a year ago, whereas traditional wings are fresh.
Not necessarily.
And then he said, not that Dustin looks like he gives a shit about what he puts in his body, though, LOL.
Rick's never worked in a restaurant. You can make boneless wings straight from scratch. I've seen wings that are fried or frozen for 6 months that they get shipped to restaurants. So wings aren't always fresh, my man.
Nate's giving you the boneless facts.
And frozen food is proven to keep the nutrients and taste and flavor inside the food better than what a fresh product is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that's a fact, Jack.
That's a fact, Jack.
I mean, Rick.
Man, Rick coming in on the wedding week for Dustin like that. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, well, Rick Derrick has 2 first names, so.
Yeah, it does. So back to you, Rick Derrick. Rick says he loves you, though, so it's all good. Hey, now he's getting married this week, though. Watch out. Watch out now. Fiance's going to come after you. We know that. Watch out. Is FSU talking or pursuing former Florida State commit Brandon Jennings' legacy?
I'll let Nate talk.
No. That bridge is burned. Florida State really tried to do their best to hold on to that, and there was a falling out there, so not gonna circle back on that one.
No,
he's a good player. Had a pretty strong freshman season, but the simple fact is that the coaching staff does not get along with him, and he doesn't get along with his coaching staff now. So it's not a fit.
This next question is regarding Coach Woodson, which we just practically were talking about him at Memphis potentially being the defensive coordinator. I personally haven't heard anything on this happening.
I don't care what happens now.
Since he lost Travis Hunter, he says, "Screw off, Marcus Woodson." Nate is not a fan. Oh man,
he had one job.
Oh no! Don't he
had one job.
The chat is just gonna.
Okay. He had one job, and that was
blame
to
it on the
make sure
bag
that Travis Hunter ends up in Tallahassee. And that didn't happen. So,
Carol,
it's hard to blame Woodson for that, though.
We're not being negative. We're just talking about how 2021 was up and down. There were some not great moments.
Up and down.
And there were some other moments that, you could take a lot of positive things from.
Meanwhile, when Nate opened up that segment and said it effing sucked.
For Nate, it was like,
Yeah.
It's a
Carol,
downward.
I went from
Carol's
being
awesome.
being in the stands for that Notre Dame game, just soaking in that environment, how exciting it was.
And you were in the stadium 2 hours before kickoff. You saw the punt
Yes.
warm-ups. You saw punt
Yeah.
warm-ups too.
Because I had to. But remember, I had just gotten, coming off COVID, man. I was tired, bro.
So you got there 2 hours early.
But coming off that excitement and then that freaking bullshit game the week after, and then it was a tough season, man.
Absolute roller coaster of a ride.
Yep.
We'll never forget it.
They go in and they beat Carolina.
Like, what is this team doing?
They go and they wrap up the season losing to a very average Florida team. So it's like, man, like really?
William's asking if we can go, all three of us go out and help recruiting.
I'm trying. I offer recruits money every day.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly you did that.
Yeah, allegedly.
Can't wait to hear from whatever someone's going to email us.
I offer recruits bonus
It's a joke. It's a joke. Allegedly.
You offer them chicken nuggets with sauce on them. That's what you offer. Let's move on to the next question here, as we should. Why did Julian Armella sign later in the day? It's time to get our conspiracy theories together here. Did Atkins drop a bag? Julian Armella.
Do we really want to address this whole bag thing?
Yeah, we can't really say that.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
Well, that's in the question.
Well, I think that he listened to Florida, LSU's their pitch about holding off and signing. But I think that just the relationship with Coach Atkins and the way that it developed and just how quickly they connected throughout the season. I think that after thinking about it, I think you kind of just knew where he wanted to go, and I'm sure that they had a conversation about trying to finish the day off in a positive note for sure. But I think that Armella just kind of knew where he wanted to go, so why delay the inevitable? Finish it off on a good note and move on.
Yeah, I think he was thinking about it, and Atkins gave him the call and said, "Stop screwing around. You know where you want to be," and he pulled the trigger. And he's going to be really helpful for Florida State. Not an early enrollee because of going to St. Thomas Aquinas, but when he gets here in the summer, starts to work on his body and everything, he's going to be a contributor, not this year, but down the line.
That's one thing I'm optimistic too about is Coach Atkins, his future at FSU. I think he's one of the best assistant coaches in the country.
This is from Raz asking you, Nate. Has Nate not figured out how to turn his phone sideways?
I don't want to.
There's your answer. On to the next question. What can the team sell to recruits right now? What do you think?
Is that better?
Yeah, upside down. What can Florida State sell to recruits right now other than a bag? Or is there even a bag?
Well, the bag's going to be important. Let's be real about that.
Walmart bag.
I think they can sell immediate playing time. A chance to compete right away for playing time on one of the biggest stages in college football. Whether we want to say it or not, debate it or not, there's a reason why Florida State's always on primetime TV. So you're going to get a lot of exposure. You get an opportunity to help get the program back to where it used to be and where it should be. Plus, I mean, as Dustin said, we saw a lot of positive stuff towards the back end of the season, and that's kind of proof of what the coaches are talking about in terms of, And I know a lot of people mock the whole offense made for playmakers, but let's be really honest here and talk about how Florida State just has to get more talented on offense at the skill positions, and they're addressing that, which is going to make Norvell's offense that much better. Norvell is a great play caller. He's done it at every spot, from an assistant coach to a coordinator to a head coach. He's got a proven track record. So, there's a chance to get into a system that can put you out there and show what you can do in the next level. Tallahassee's a fun town, man. You got FAMU there, which is a great plus. Hopefully the state of Florida will loosen up the NIL stuff and allow, the big three in the state of Florida to, compete. And that's what it's going to come down to is how driven is this administration to get back to the elite program that they want to be and should be. And does FSU have the financial backing in order to compete with oil money, with Alabama's, with Ohio State's and all those schools? That's what it comes down to. Can't sell that yet because you don't know.
This next question is coming from Jen and asking, do you think losing Dillingham will change much for Florida State?
No.
I don't think it's pivotal recruiting-wise either.
Dillingham and Norvell worked hand in hand in that offense. So, I mean, whoever you want to call the primary play caller, it was going through both of them. They both were very much involved in those decisions, and Norvell was the one that called the plays back at Memphis, when they were setting records on offense. So I have no worry with Norvell taking back over as he kind of grooms Atkins, I would think, eventually.
I know some people are kind of questioning the move of Tony T, but that's a coach that a lot of people are looking at as an emerging, up and coming coach. So it's hard for me to really truly knock Norvell when you look at his coaching tree and who he's hired in his tenure as a head coach. So I'm going to kind of wait and see with that. I think it's a good move for Dillingham to get out there and kind of prove that he can call an offense while he works to become a head coach. And it's an opportunity for Atkins, who's been an offensive coordinator before, to be on a big stage and show what he's got. He's a future head coach somewhere, I think, within a few years.
Yeah, I'm excited for Tony T. He's been under Norvell for the past 5 years. He was actually an on-field coach at Memphis with Norvell.
Yep.
Came to Florida State to be a senior offensive analyst, and now he's going to get his shot, on-field coaching job at Florida State as a quarterbacks coach. And he's worked closely with Jordan Travis the past 2 years. They've already got a relationship. You saw Kenny Dillingham pretty happy about the hire on social media whenever the news came out. And from what I've been told, he's already been reaching out to recruits, AJ Duffy, Chris Parson, and began building a relationship with them as well.
Yep.
Forgot to mention, too, we've got the All-American practices happening right now. AJ Duffy's already tossed a couple touchdowns. Seems like he's having a good night during practice.
I'll be there Sunday.
Nate will be in attendance.
Wish I could be there.
Wow.
I'll be there Sunday. I'd like to get to a practice, but I'm just too damn busy at work right now. I can't.
Apparently,
can't miss out.
Apparently Travis Hunter and Sam McCall are roommates. So imagine how awkward that might be.
I think it might be planned. I think the two are still close there.
I'm just saying, you got to think McCall, he might have a little bit of adverse feelings towards Hunter, not being informed about the decision or anything. He might have been able to get past it over these past 2 weeks, but I'm sure at the time he was upset.
Maybe he's getting a little bit of the bag. Sam McCall getting a little bit of the bag in the hotel room. I don't know. Good.
What do you stop talking about the fucking bags?
That's what the bags are. That's what the fans want to talk about is the bags. What is that? You just blew out everyone's ears. Holy shit. You have a whistle on you at all times, Coach?
No, it's a recorder.
A recorder?
I used to be able to play one of those things in third
God, that's
grade.
a damn flute. The fuck is that? Any talks with quarterback transfer Cameron Ward?
No idea.
Haven't heard much there.
Never heard much there.
Nope. Is Florida State looking?
I think that's a guy that definitely wants to go somewhere
Start
and
immediately.
have a starting spot.
Yeah.
You know, that's not someone that's going to come in and be okay being a backup.
No.
He's looking to prove himself that he could produce the same amount on this level that he did previously. So he's looking for a chance to go somewhere and play right away, not compete for the starting spot.
Going into this, is Florida State looking into getting a starting quarterback transfer? And is the staff is the staff worried about upsetting Jordan Travis with going into the transfer portal and grabbing a quarterback?
Well, hopefully, if it's a decision that the coaches think is best for the team, hopefully, I do think Travis would understand that. You know, it's what's best for the program. You know, hopefully your supposed number one guy, which is your quarterback, you know, sees it as, hey, it's competition. It makes me better. But two, the coaches think it's necessary to bring in another arm to solidify depth and, you know, have some self accountability and understand that you've been injured every season. So, you know, the staff is trying to cover all their bases, and if they deem that they got to bring someone in, so be it, bro. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and you know, the best players don't get quote unquote upset when other talent comes in to compete, because that just makes them even better in the end. And we saw that with Jordan Travis and Mackenzie Milton last year. Florida State brought in a transfer quarterback. They competed, and Jordan Travis came out on top with the job. And you know, we saw everything worked out during the season. But with the caliber of player that I think Jordan Travis has shown signs of and is starting to develop into, it's going to be tough right now with the guys that are available for someone to come in and beat him out. But you could still find a quality number two and a guy that could spell Travis in the event that, you know, he still has some of those injury concerns that we've seen the last 2 years in 2022. I can't remember the dude's name, but the guy at Wyoming entered the transfer portal last week or whatever. He's one that I'd be interested in.
This next question here is from the Discord asking, when is a 24-hour live stream? I think that should be after Dustin.
Play that recorder again. That's when it's happening.
God, I feel bad for people listening in their
press
cars.
On the
No. No, the goddamn podcast listeners are never going to listen to us again in their car. I feel so bad for anyone listening in their cars. Just blew out
Allegedly.
Your speakers. Allegedly. All right, now you got to stop saying allegedly then. But I can't say bags. What is the admin's view on football? Will the budget get larger for the football program?
I like having Alfred as a athletic director.
Yeah.
I think there's brighter days ahead.
Yeah, I think it's clear you've got an administration that is shifting to be more football focused than they have been over the past, half decade or whatever you may have. And it's really going to come down to, I think, Florida State to developing a good NIL program, because that's just the nature of the way that this game is going. You're going to have to be able to provide guys with something. And we saw that, frankly, lose Florida State a couple of recruitments. So that's going to take everybody. If you're not a booster, sign up and become a booster, donate some money, brick by brick.
Wow, brick by brick. Good promotion there from Dustin Lewis. They should sign him. It should be your full-time gig.
They should work with me, man. I could be their promoter or something.
You would do a fantastic job at that.
I think so.
What is Logan's plans now that he's graduated? Well, let me start off with saying I'm getting into knitting. I'm reading a lot more books now. I'm getting into baking, and number one, Dustin and Nate, I'm getting into gardening. So I'm starting to get into being a gardener.
Going the Newberg route, and I respect it.
Joining
Have
in
you
on
been
the
able
fun.
to reach out to him and get any tips about having a nice herb patch?
No, haven't had any good advice there. I'm kind of going solo dolo with it.
Got to get in those spaces, man. I'm sure he could bring you up there to ask a question.
I know that might be my next thing. Look for me tomorrow. Fire him up for me. So I'll get in there and ask a couple questions. Next question here is going to be any news on portal linebackers? Anything on Noah Taylor? How do we feel about
Committed
Jared
North Carolina?
First? So yeah, that Noah Taylor one is axed. How do we feel about Jared First? We talked about him earlier, but just last time, does Florida also feel good?
There's some people that think he's leaning towards LSU. You know, we'll see how that plays out.
And LSU didn't even get a visit.
I know. We'll see.
You think things are crackling with LSU?
Bag.
Oh man, just trying to piss him off. Just keep doing it. Love it. We haven't been with each other in 2 weeks, so it's bound to happen. What's the situation with who else could it be? Dustin Hill. What is the situation going on with Dustin Hill? Dustin, we saw you put out a tweet the day before early signing day about Dustin Hill being on that 2022 class list at Florida State.
Yeah, I think Florida State just screwed up and didn't delete him off the page. I think that was a complete accident, and they totally did not mean to throw everybody into a panic like that. Because if you go back and look at it, I mean, the graphic for him that it was different from the thing that they did this year. So I just think that was a screw up on their part. But oh well.
So I believe it when he's actually on campus.
Yeah, tired of the timelines, man. It's like
it went from definitely January to now, probably summer. And Florida State needs that kid, man. He's really good. You know, they need him badly.
Last year, whenever he didn't sign, stuff kept coming out like, oh, there's confidence, he'll make it to campus, so he'll be here, and then the timeline, it just keeps getting pushed back every single time. So, like you said, Nate, at this point, you got to show me. You got to show me for me to believe. But if he does show up, I mean, man, that wide receiver room is looking like it's been pretty much completely flipped, along with the guys you've got coming back that should continue to improve.
You know who expects to see Dustin Hill?
How different does that room look, though? Not to get sidetracked, sorry, Logan. When you can bring in better talent, and a guy like Ontario Wilson, who was arguably your best receiver, is your second or third string guy. You know, that's the goal, right? So, be interested to see what happens.
Well, you know who feels very confident about Dustin Hill coming to Tallahassee is Greedy Vance.
Yep.
Former high school teammate. So we'll keep an eye out. Optimism. This is the episode of Optimism as we head into 2022.
What are your New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolutions?
Yeah.
Not drink so much beer. Probably number one. I drank a lot of beer in 2021 and through my college years. Probably not do that. Read more books. I think I want to get smarter every day and find something new. And number 3, make you guys happy. I want y'all to smile more so we can have a good time on this show every week together. Because we're with each other a lot. Every day texting on the show and the Discord. Yeah, just make you guys smile more. 2022. What about yours, Nate?
I'm moving.
You're moving?
I got to get back into the gym just for sanity's sake, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, to kind of on the same line, as a guy who likes to read. I want to get back into reading, so I read every night. I got 5 books in my nightstand, so getting back to just gaining knowledge about things I'm interested about, and yeah, that's about it. I haven't really thought about it.
You're the one that asked us.
Because someone else asked it, dipshit.
You asked it. You brought it up. Dustin seems like he's got something.
I would say also too, just to continue to focus on the balance of work and life.
How did we get to like lifestyle podcast out of nowhere? They took this fully seriously.
Oh man.
Dustin, any New Year's resolutions for you? Just randomly in the middle of all of our questions here.
I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I would say have a good marriage, probably lose weight so I don't die in the next 7 or 8 years.
Rick told you to. So
and just keep pushing no game day to be the best that we can make it all year and beyond that.
Look at that. You're a great promotional person. Get into politics more. From Dustin Hill to New Year's resolutions, let's keep this trend going here and talk about Jamie Robinson and do we expect him to be back next season? Right now, I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes.
I think it's 50-50.
True starter.
So he comes in, earns all conference honors, has a great season.
Really good finish to the season.
Came on real strong at the end of the season, put a lot of good stuff on tape. I think it depends on after the season, what does that defensive back class look like going into the draft? That's what's gonna. Not trying to knock him by any means saying that, but can you play one more season in college and put more good stuff out there and raise your stock, or does the NFL see you not getting better in terms of where you could get drafted, and you just take the chance and make the leap? So
yeah, and he had some struggles.
I really hope he comes back because he played really, really well the back end of the year.
Yeah, like you said, he had some struggles early on, and then really came into his own those last 5-6 games, culminating that with the 18 tackles in the season finale against Florida, which, just a heck of an effort from him on that one. So we'll have to see. Whenever I look at these things, I always try to see if there's any outside factors that might influence a guy's decision one way or the other. And, shortly after he committed or signed to Florida State, whenever he transferred in from South Carolina, his mom's house actually burned down. So I wonder if maybe that could have any impact going into the NFL now, getting some money and being able to help out the family. Same thing with Fabian Lovett. We'll just have to see. But at the same time, maybe those NIL things could start to help Florida State and be like, get you this nice deal. Come on back.
Yeah. Raz is asking, any news on Damori Tate, the defensive back? Haven't heard anything on him at all. Nate, you've been one of the many that have talked about Damori Tate last couple of years.
I could see him giving it through spring and based off what happens in spring, making a decision if he's going to stay at Florida State or not. So, he's kind of been buried on the depth chart in the doghouse, been injured. Apparently isn't very happy with his spot. So, does he transfer or does he wait through and see what happens in the spring? Because, again, it's another guy who has a lot of gifts, but it just hasn't put it together yet.
Andre's saying that Nate needs to talk to Dr. Phil.
No, I'm straight.
This last question here on the docket for the night, 2021, asks, any more players that we should expect Florida State to transfer? Some guys to keep an eye on. We already talked about Jamie. They're not Jamie, but that's really just depending on what he wants to do.
They asked him who's going to transfer?
Yeah, transfer out of Florida State.
2 to 3. it's got to happen in order for them to, continue to bring portal guys in.
I think you could even have more than that. We'll just have to see. I mean, I don't want to put any names on any guys, but maybe, a couple reserve defensive backs. I could see some reserve wide receiver guys go on with that room starting to fill up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at tight end, there's a little bit of attrition there at the back end of the depth chart. It's all up in the air right now. So I don't want to put any names out there, speculate.
Yeah. I think 4 is a pretty good number, in my opinion.
Yep.
Definitely once spring comes, there's going to be a few more.
There's 3 guys in my head right now. So
keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself or go to the Discord.
I learned my lesson.
I don't want to start a rumor around someone and get killed.
Whoa, damn.
Have another dad coming after you, Nate.
Oh my goodness. At least this comment here from Trent says, this is pitiful. This is pitiful. Didn't like our New Year's resolution segment there. Hey, we're just answering the fans' questions here.
You're pitiful, Trent.
Yeah, back to you, Trent. You made
right
Dustin.
Back at you, buddy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You're pitiful. Right back at you. But yeah, I think that practically wraps up the show for this evening. A pitiful way to end off the show by calling one of our listeners pitiful. I mean, there's nothing better than that. Gentlemen.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
We done for the year? We finally done?
I think we did it. We never even said anything about Austin. Poor Austin, but he's currently
he's at the Rona. We kind of did at the beginning, we talked about how basketball sucks, so he's kind of disappeared.
Yeah, no, he left the podcast because basketball is practically done. So thoughts and wishing the best to our friend Austin Veazey, as we know, a lead basketball writer. He's dealing with COVID, so couldn't join us, but looks like he'll be okay. He's just not feeling so well and tired. So hopefully he can have a big turnaround. Also, shout out to Delu this upcoming weekend, getting married. Looking forward to it. Should be fun. I'm a groomsman for him, so definitely appreciative of him inviting me into that. Really, I don't think it's a great idea. Definitely when you have an open bar, so and have a lodge to stay at on that property. So I don't know where the weekend could go. We'll
see what happens. And Austin was actually supposed to be there, and then probably a month or two ago, he decided that he was going to attend the North Carolina State game on January 1st instead of coming to my wedding. And now he's got COVID, so he can't even go.
Haha.
Just saying, I don't really feel bad for the guy.
So you don't feel bad he has corona?
Hopefully he makes it through. I mean.
Oh my gosh. Rona.
Hopefully he makes it.
Chris said that he just subscribed. If you haven't yet, if all of y'all are new on YouTube or even Facebook, hit the like button or hit subscribe. That way you get notified every time we release a new episode. I think that's going to fully wrap up all of 2021. I don't know how many episodes we had this season, but good God almighty, I think we had a ton. Definitely appreciate all the awesome guests we had this whole season too. We had a handful of them. Definitely shout out to Sports Illustrated. We started off with them in September. Has been a really fun ride so far. Just getting started, I think we're
kicking ass, man.
Yeah, the team has been killing it. We've been doing a great job, and it's the crazy thing is we just got started. We're still learning. We're still trying to get better too. We're trying to find different ways to bring you guys content. So we're just going to keep churning content over there at NoGameDay.com with Sports Illustrated, and their team is awesome too. So keep on the lookout for a lot of stuff to start off 2022. A lot of new guests too that we're working on bringing to start off the season. A lot of things we're trying to work on the back end of things that we're hopefully going to be able to share with you guys in the near future. A lot of cool stuff. We're really going to have a busy off season and hopefully be able to share a lot of this news with you guys. So look forward to an awesome 2022 with y'all. This is where we introduce the streaming platform too. So having y'all on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, it's been crazy cool to be able to engage with you guys in the comments, even if you call the show pitiful here and there. We appreciate it a ton. Nate will call you pitiful back.
And call me pitiful.
And you need, yeah. But definitely appreciate y'all. This has been awesome year. Looking forward to 2022. Hopefully, maybe on Florida State's football side of things, a little bit better. But we're here for the ride, baby. It's what makes it.
How much worse can it get? I'm afraid to ask, but how much worse can it get?
We shall see, Nate. We shall see.
Debbie Downer Nate is with the last jab.
Hey, it will never be as bad as 4-8 on the full season.
You never want to be called the 4-8ers.
No.
Never want to do that. But the 3-6 Mafia has a better ring to it, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for the last episode of 2021. As always, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Join us in the Discord. Enjoy the off season with us. Only $2.99 a month. Patreon.com/Nola Game Day. If you're on Instagram, go follow us over there. That will be busy this off season. If you're on Twitter, follow us at the Nola Game Day. And if you haven't texted us yet, text us. And you're actually texting me 850-616-8661. I know it says text us for recruiting and transfer portal update.
I know that I need everyone just to flood that line and request that I take control for one day.
Yeah, and I know everyone wants to contribute to the wedding, so you can cash at me at Shadow DCL. So go ahead and send that money in.
Oh my goodness. All right, that's
Shadow DCL Cash App. Remember that.
God. Oh, Lord help us, Jesus Christ. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of the year. Happy New Year. Look forward to 2022, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Happy New Year.
I can't wait to kill these guys. I made it through a year with them. I can't wait to kill them. All right, see y'all in 2022. Adios.
Ooh, someone cash at me.
Did someone actually cash app you?
Yeah, make sure you guys all do too. Come on, keep it coming.
Okay, no one cash apped him. All right, we're out of here. See you in 2022.